I know Ms. Kickline is anxious to be heard.
What I wanted to open up with tonight is, first of all, as many of you in this room know, I grew up in the Panhandle, so I really do know your roads. I know the topography. I know the difficulty with navigating it. I guess, Mr. Fry, I was one of those suicidal people. I, as a kid, used to ride a bike to Wayne, I guess back when your parents used to let you do things like that. And I do remember moving back home after law school to save some money and studying for the bar exam. I used to walk up to Cabrini from Hollow Road. So, I mean, I do understand, I really do get the neighborhood, and I understand the difficulty with the traffic. But what I do want to point out tonight, that the motion in front of us is not about whether we as supervisors are supporting or authorizing sidewalks in the Panhandle. Really, the only issue that's in front of us is whether we are going to support this motion that's offered by Mr. Olson to release the escrow funds from St. David's pursuant to this very specific document. That's the issue in front of us. I agree with you that if we want to talk about changing ordinance requirements with regard to sidewalks, that is something that obviously I would like the entire community to have notice about, and I think that should be something that you know, we can raise at another meeting. So let's focus on what the issue is here tonight. And one of the things that I raised in the executive session was that I can't move forward with this motion until I have a number of questions that have to be answered by, I think, by our solicitor. You know, I'm going to, there's about 20 of them. I don't want to read every single one of them because I think a lot of you have touched on those. But really, the major issue that I see here tonight is whether or not we can, as supervisors, raise this issue when St. David hasn't followed what I see as standard municipal township practice in requesting a release of the escrow funds. That letter has not been presented, to my knowledge, to this board or to the township. So I just wonder why we're going ahead with a motion when St. David's hasn't really moved this ball forward in what I see as the proper legal procedural manner. Second of all, and I think this is a really major issue, and I know Mr. Whalen has mentioned this, can we modify a land development agreement that has been authorized by the Planning Commission? My understanding of Tredyffrin Township is that we're very unique. I've done a lot of work for townships, not in Chester County, but in other areas where supervisors do have the authority over the land development process. We have given that to our Planning Commission. This has been a long process that they've worked through with St. David's. And my understanding is that the Planning Commission has not release St. David's from the obligation to complete the sidewalks. So we've given them that authority to work through that land development process, and I'm not really sure why we seem to want to be taking it back. I have a master's certification in planning. I'm happy to look at plans. I'm happy to go over sidewalks, but I'm not really sure the rest of the board wants to do that. So before we start going into what I consider Planning Commission authority, I think we really need to make sure we understand what we're doing with that. And finally, one of the major issues I think that, again, Mr. Whalen touched on is the precedent that we're setting tonight. There are 7 funded escrows that I've counted that have gone through the land development process with the Planning Commission. You know, I'm not really sure that I feel comfortable tonight with moving a ball forward by not following proper procedure as I understand it in the township. And furthermore, there's 4 land developments that have approval, but they have not funded their escrow. So we have at least 11 potential escrow funds that could be affected by what I see our decision being tonight. My proposal or my motion would be to really look into this further. I'd like to have some more discussions with our solicitor, and I would make a motion to table the motion that's been offered by Mr. Olson and discuss it at a further time when I've had more opportunity to really discuss some of these issues. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.